Well, we'll see if we're live. Let's test to see if they can even hear us. That's
Just
the
make some
first
sound.
test.
We're in the green. You can hear everybody.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Yeah.
begin. And I think we should make this a Q&A session, like the full-on Q&A.
A full-on lightning round.
Yeah, full-on lightning round. But
Yeah.
the first thing I want to talk about is like Star Wars is awesome, and that's all I want to say. Star Wars looks awesome. I'm excited for the trailer. Oh, the trailer made me so excited.
Dude, I saw John in the video. That was crazy. I didn't know
Yeah,
you were going to be a
Jonathan
part of that.
actually in the game. Yeah, he's actually in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome to
Pretty,
see, man.
it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Anyways, that's all I want to say.
Goodbye, guys.
So
All right.
see you guys. Good night,
Peace
and,
out.
and all have a good night. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. So first of all, let me just go ahead and introduce everybody. So I'm Anthony Jones. We have Mache Kachara. We have Kalen Chalk, and then we got John Rivera. John Rivera.
Ow.
Yeah. A few announcements. We're going to be going to Canada, and Canada, Vancouver, Canada, and we're gonna be there for about a few days. This whole weekend, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be arriving on Friday evening. So for those of you who are in the Canadas or going to the Anomaly, going to that thing, I would say this is a good opportunity to reach out to us. Meet us on our Facebook so that way we can try to hang out, talk, and chill. I think the first night, I don't know what they have planned for us on the first night we arrive, but we're definitely going to go hang out with some of our students, and more the merrier, right? Another thing is another event that we're going to be happening at the end of next month is what was it called? The IFCC.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing, and I'll be posting a lot of that stuff tomorrow. I'm going to be posting banners and all that kind of information tomorrow. But we're going to be at IFCC at the end of next month. So the end of this month, we're going to be going to Canada, and then at the end of next month, we're going to be going to Croatia. So those of you who are in the more of the European area, this will be the opportunity to come meet up with us. Even if you do not have tickets to the event, we will still be hanging around in that area. But the event is going to be a really good event. There's going to be a lot of great artists, it's going to be a very big venue. It's going to be pretty cool. Just pretty excited about it. But either way, we're going to be out there. So if you want to come meet us, that's a good chance to do that. But for now, we'll post more information on that a little bit more or a little bit later. But for now, let's go into the stream. We'll just jump right in and start doing Q&A, like right away. Let's just do it. So we'll start with on Mache's page. Yeah, because Mache is kind of our special guest for now. Eventually, he'll just be the guest. He'll just be a host. But for now, I don't trust. Yeah, I don't trust him entirely. I don't know.
I know. You shouldn't.
He's about to have children, and those children, and I know what children do, and they basically will prevent him from being host. I have a feeling. At least his first child. Second child, yes, it's a lot easier. Anyways, so yeah. Did you find it, John?
I believe so.
Yesterday
at 1:40.
We'll see. We'll fucking see.
What is the best way to learn about design besides looking at stuff that you personally like?
What is the best way? From my experience, design comes with time, but the way you can learn and start to think. Let's put it this way. There's difference between illustration and design. I've been saying that a lot recently. But basically, illustration is just whatever you paint. Design means that you're creating something that has a function. So basically, you wanna learn as much as you can in terms of functionality of things. So let's for instance, when you're about to paint a robot or a mech or vehicle or what have you, the best way to approach it is to learn the mechanics of things, like how the arm could move, what are the hydraulics of the movement. And as you learn those things, you'll bring the functionality to your drawings. And that's the most important thing when it comes to design. And then another aspect of the design is the way it looks, the shapes you use, the flow, and all those things together. So like whether you're using more triangular shapes or rounded shapes and whatnot. For instance, you can clearly distinguish the Tron design, and you can clearly distinguish, let's say, Akira or Ghost in the Shell, because that's totally different way of designing things. Tron is more shape, look focused, whereas Ghost in the Shell, for instance, is more function focused. So the easiest way, learn how things work and study how things work. If you're doing weapon designs, study how weapons are built, what are the elements of the weapon, because that's going to be the most important thing to sell and make your concepts and illustration most believable. And that's the easiest part to learn, the functionality. Shape language, that's something that comes usually with time and experiments. You will I imagine that, even though you might get a good foundation of what specific shapes mean, like for instance, round shapes would mean something that is more calm and fluid and more quiet, whereas angular shapes would mean something more aggressive. Just putting it in a very simple way. But so as you learn those things, then you will learn how to combine those shapes together in order to create something that is visually interesting. But from my experience, it just comes with time. Unless you have access to art center, or you have teachers that are great at designers, that they can tell you what path to choose in order to create something that is really interesting. Then if you have that, that's great. If you don't, you just have to put hours in and try to focus. First, I would say focus on functionality, and then shapes as well. Shapes gonna come with time. It's gonna be more difficult. Like for instance, I considered myself an illustrator for majority of my career. Like I haven't considered myself a designer until I really started working in films, because up until that moment, I wasn't creating anything. I felt at least that I wasn't creating anything that was design-wise fresh, if you will. And just at that very moment, or maybe not specifically that very moment, but there was a moment in time that happened recently where I just started figuring out that there are certain aspects of the way I design my illustrations or armors or mechs or whatever that's maybe not as unique as Daniel Simon or Vitaly Bulgarov would do, but unique enough to sort of give me my own identity to the works.
So the lowest point in my career?
Yes, and then what's your favorite body part to draw? Go.
All right, so I'm an ass man, so let's get that out the way.
So you
Lowest
just draw
point.
asses?
Yeah, dude. Like when you ass is like a ball, it's like a sphere. So when you get like that core shadow on a butt, like on a nice booty, God, fuck yeah. All right, this is getting awkward now. All right, I guess I'm the only one. Don't even try to deny it. Anyways, lowest part of my career, I would say maybe the most challenging part, I think was like maybe when we were at Crazy Pixel, and I was kind of like I wasn't doing that well, and I got put to like part time again, even though I didn't even know I was full time at the time. But they were like, "Kalen, you're not cutting it." And they put me part time, and a lot of people told me that I should just quit because at that time the boss wasn't the most popular person on the planet. But AJ was probably the only person that was like, "Dude, you need to fucking up your shit. Stop being a bitch." And I was like, "All right." So then I stopped being a bitch, and then that was like a really eye-opening moment, because I could have easily just kind of quit that job, but AJ really helped me try to push through that. So that's probably the only thing I can think of.
All right, cool.
Our next question is for Mache. Says,
We're all gonna answer this question.
Okay. All right.
You.
Oh fuck!
All right, so let me go ahead and try to answer
That
this.
was so hilarious.
So the lowest point for me was it was the same thing, but it was when the company collapsed. I was moving in together with my wife. Well, at the time she was just my girlfriend, and we were just moving in. She was gonna like we were gonna do this thing. It was gonna be awesome. And then the company that we worked at Crazy Pixel collapsed, and because of that, we didn't have money saved up, so we weren't able to just move straight away, and so that was a really big bummer. And I remember sitting in my or laying in my bed for about 2 hours, just like really upset, like very sad and very depressed. And then I told myself, never again will I allow something like this happen. You know, where I'll let my destiny be controlled by myself. Like it'll be in my hands. And I got up. I just started fucking painting, and I just started working really hard. I just started painting for months. And luckily for us, our boss wasn't a complete, dick. He was a nice guy, just wasn't a great boss to us. He gave us a freelance job, and he felt bad for us, and that got us enough money to get the apartment. And then I worked my butt off. Got an opportunity to do art test for Sony. Did the art test for Sony. Just barely beat Marco Neller, there's another story about that. We can talk some other time. And I worked at Sony, and then that basically kickstarted my whole career. And I just worked my butt off ever since. Even if I got a job that would you consider my dream job, I would always still work on personal work. It's just important. Anyways, and my favorite body part to draw is I like to draw the arms. Arms are great.
That's
So
bullshit.
next up is Mache. Go ahead and answer this. You got a
I just wanted to say, AJ, that last answer was bullshit, but everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you like to draw butts as well, so stop
Yeah.
pretending.
Why are you? Yeah. That was,
No, I like to draw them.
I like to draw fingers and.
It's just not my favorite. I'm just being sincere.
Yet there was two answers to that answer: tits or ass. Just pick one.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, go ahead, Mitch. With lowest part of your life, career-wise, go.
This part would be my foot.
What?
Lowest point.
Oh,
Lowest
yeah.
point. Well, actually, depending if I sit with
Got
my,
him.
or if I lay down and put my feet up, then my lowest part would be my butt.
This is what it must feel like to be you, Judd. When you try to just say something, no one you just can't.
I was
get
just-
a word in.
Okay,
I-
all right,
I
enough.
started-
I
to
have to
find-
interrupt you guys.
I'm starting to finally understand you.
All right, so my lowest.
No?
The lowest part of your life. Go ahead. I dare you to try to answer this question.
My lowest, my lowest point of my career in life was during Crytek times. I was working as art director on the project that eventually got canned, and team was scattered across other projects. I was in debt. I was having some issues with my own weight, and just basically being a piece of shit that wouldn't work on personal things, and was very insecure and whatnot. So that was the point where I realized that nothing's for granted. Presumably I was working in one of the best studios at the time, and the project that I was bleeding for just died, and it felt really shitty. And it wasn't really reinforcing the way I lived my life at that time. So that was the moment where I actually started doing a lot of personal work and started posting sketches and whatnot. So I just had to get over that and do something with it, and eventually, step by step, getting closer to a point where I feel more happy about where I'm at. So
Right on.
Right. What's your intention with Showtime project? I'm personally hoping for a book, but would love to hear your thoughts on where you want to take it.
I love that, man. You got to do it.
yeah, I think we answered that last time, but just to reiterate, I'm doing a comic book. I'm still working on the story. I have half of the comic book is in the sketch phase. but I'm reworking the story. This is a pet project. This is a project that I really wanna be sure that it's great because I don't want to rush it and make it shitty. Uh, but I plan to release it this year. Um, and then hopefully we'll see what's next. I'm thinking about art book just as a separate to the comic book, do an art book that would show what the Showtime world really is, like what the environments look like, vehicles and technology and characters and all those things. I think that would be interesting, and we'll see what's next. It's pretty open ended. I'm not setting up myself into like, oh, it has to be this. I know I have to make the comic book first. I know I have to make something that I release and I'm happy with and proud of. So that's where it's at right now.
This is on AJ's website. It says this may not be relevant to the stream, but do you have any advice on where the best places or slash companies to look for work as a freelance artist is?
Like as a freelancer, I don't know, man. Because that's to work as a freelancer. I mean, it's just depends on because jobs come and go, right? Like it's not like you like, hey guys, we're freelance with you forever. Like it just it happens. Like and they come back to you, you know, if you do good work, but it doesn't mean necessarily you'll always get work from them, you know. I don't know. Like, I think freelance is better suited in terms of trying to achieve like a goal, like working with, like where Mache is working at, right? Like where it's like at um, a notable studio or not studio, like a union, like what Mache's under, right? Like that's probably the best thing you can ever really ask for. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mache, what do you think?
You know what? The more I think about it, it's more about the projects rather than whether you're in a union or
I can
not.
agree with that. Yeah, that makes more sense to me.
What the union does is just gives you a lot of benefits, health insurance and pension plan and all those nice things that you get by paying dues. But it's more about the project, and again, the only way to work on cool projects is just that your work is fucking awesome. That's the only way to do it.
Right now.
How does I paint good?
Straight, straight to the point. You can't get mad at them. How does it work? This painting goods. How do I does it? Okay, well, if you're gonna give us a vague question, I'm gonna give you a really vague answer. You gotta paint a lot. All right? You gotta paint a lot. That's it, man. That's all I'm gonna give them. How does I paint good?
After a
Lots of
stressful
practice.
workday, what do you guys do to cool down from the stress? Exercise. What do you find as helpful? Cheers.
How does I paint good? I'm still such a good.
Why do you say it in like a southern accent when you say
Yeah,
it?
it's just
That's just so fun.
he's like in the bayou. He's like in one of those like
Back to where you
steers,
came.
the bayou, like he's like wrestling a gator. He's wrestling a gator. And he's like, "How does I paint good, huh?"
I just love that question just made you go to a southern accent for no reason.
All right. Anyway, what was the question again? I'm sorry. I'm still distracted.
After a stressful workday, what do you guys
That's
do to
right.
cool down?
I mean, I just do my personal work. I think it's important to do personal work. Like people just don't do enough of it, and sometimes people start to do their personal work like after work, but sometimes it's like really hard to do, right? Because you, like you said, you get burned out or whatever the reason is. Something has gotten in your way of doing the things that you actually do want to do, and so you have to reschedule your life a bit so that way you can do those things before maybe your work day, before you get exhausted. You know, don't have to. You don't have to wait till the day's over to kind of do those types of things. You know. What about you guys? Everyone's different.
Just whack off.
Well, there you go. There you have it, guys. If you have not masturbated to succumb to this hatred that you have for your artwork after work, just masturbate and you should be good to go. I think that's the lesson I just got from this. I don't know about
Someone's
you.
gonna be like, dude, I tried it. It did wonders. Just pick up a sport. That's what I think.
Yes.
I know. I like sports, so obviously I play soccer like when I can at night. Go down to the turf fields by me, and just find people to play soccer with. If I don't, then I just do sprint drills, run around. If not, do basketball. If not, box. Like I don't know. You sit on a chair all fucking day, or if you're smart, you have a standing desk. But just like staring at a computer screen, I imagine can't be good for like your soul. So I try to like go outside. I think going outside is a good idea.
Yeah, just generally do some kind of exercise, whatever that is. For me, it's jujitsu. I try to do it as much as I can, but sometimes I'm just, running out of time. But even on the shitty workloads where I'm working 24/7, I still try to go to class at least once a week, just to get really fucking tired. Uh, and it works wonders because exercise makes you feel much better. You're gonna feel tired physically, but mentally you're gonna feel refreshed. And then also keeping yourself healthy just generally brings you way more energy, and you can do more things. Even though you'll be thinking, okay, I'm spending time and going to the gym or whatnot. I could paint. Yeah, you could, but you're gonna get tired faster, and you're gonna have shittier ideas. So
Yeah, it's a good way to reset the brain, I would say.
yeah, perfect
Get
way.
those endorphins in your
And
in your
for
body.
me, so the person that got me into jiu-jitsu was Ash, and I went very skeptical. I was like, I'm gonna try it and see what's up. But for me, jiu-jitsu is something that I would never stop doing because it's like art. It's just basically art. You know, you have to learn a ton of shit. It's almost like being an artist from the very scratch. Like you just don't know anything, and everyone is destroying you, and you're just trying to survive. It's like being an artist, and every time you fail, you die. You know?
He's right. It's definitely like it's pretty spot on. Like when I was doing like sparring, like mixed martial arts sparring at ILM, it's the same thing. Like I would treat it the same way that I would treat my art. Like I'd figure out like what did I do wrong? How do I get better? Like what are some things I could do? And it is like a art. Like you treat it like an art. Like you really try to like put your whole self into it. And it's definitely a fun process. Like being a beginner at something again is definitely fun.
But you're, what is the difference between being a concept artist for film and a concept artist for video games?
Is that question to me or
It's just in general.
general? Well, so maybe I'll start. The only difference that I really witnessed is that in film you're gonna work a lot more with actual sets, uh, or something that's gonna be physically built, which means you have to work in scale. You have to respect some of the limitations that come from set design, location. For instance, when you're building an interior for a film, for instance, um, you have to take into consideration how they're gonna build it. What's the stage size is. They usually will have to be restricted within stage, the building. So when they build the set physically, they have dimensions that they cannot go over because obviously that's the limitation of the building. So whenever you're designing things, specifically for that set, it has to be sort of contained. So that those are the limitations. Everything else is the same. You're pretty much painting what you ask to be to be painted, and that's it. You're just making sure that everything looks, as good as possible, really.
Oh, show.
Is there such a thing as being an illustrator for film?
Yeah, that's the actual title you get when you join the union. You're considered illustrator. Not even that. They don't even call it a concept artist. They call it an illustrator or concept illustrator. Um, it actually comes down to what you're gonna negotiate as a credit between you and producer, but more often than the most often credit that you're gonna get is an illustrator or senior illustrator or something like that. But it's all the same, It's like concept artist, concept designer. It's just a title. Really, it's the same job.
Hey G, will you be
What?
posting the last video for character design or and your mixer brushes?
Yes.
What would you say was your biggest inspiration, Miche, to get into concept art?
That was a question that was, I think, answered last time as
Yeah,
well. But basically, I saw this short film by Tomek Baginski, The Cathedral. That's what got me interested in digital art. I used to draw a lot before. I used to play role-playing games and Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, and so I would paint the characters that I would create and play, as a fun thing to do. But just to get it as work, just to start thinking as work, that's when I saw that was after I saw The Cathedral, because that was nominated for Academy Award, and I was really impressed with how it looked. I was like, holy fuck, you can actually do that in computer. And I was impressed, and that got me really inspired to actually, get a computer, get a tablet, and start doing work in Photoshop.
Yeah.
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 I found
Yeah.
this great app that gives you random words and you sketch out ideas. Do you think that it's a good idea to use inspiration reference to build your visual library, or is it better to not use them and develop your imagination, or perhaps study beforehand and sketch out after that?
What'd you call me?
It's a good app that generates words, and basically you get inspiration. Is it good to get inspiration through that, or just build your visual library?
Do you guys want to answer it first, or?
Imagination.
I don't know. That's AJ. AJ, that's on you.
What'd you?
Dude.
What did you call me?
You lose its concentration when you're doing it.
Yeah, when I'm in Unreal, man, I'm not here, dude. I'm like coding, dude. I'm fucking trying to code. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. Just a second. I'm doing some.
So you're not gonna answer this question?
Hell no. I'm just kidding. What's the question? Go ahead.
He just said.
He just said it, but we just explained why. I probably might have missed it. I'm knee deep in this. Oh, this is
Just
terrible.
deleted it too. Alright, so I found this great app that gives you random words and
Oh,
you
yeah,
sketch
yeah.
out ideas.
Yeah. I know what he was trying to say. Like, is that better or just coming with your imagination?
Yeah, exactly.
Your imagination can only be supplied by what you input. If you do not have anything inputted into your brain, then it's going to be hard to come up with stuff. So doing stuff like this will add more to your imagination. So it's never a bad thing to do something that is outside of your imagination, because it may be added to it. It may add more. But if you're trying to design stuff for your portfolio and you have no direction, yeah, of course, this would be a great tool for that, right? If you can't find a way to discipline yourself in any other way, of course. Anything that makes you draw, work, get something on paper, get something done is going to put you in a better spot. outside of that. Like if you did nothing, then yeah, you wouldn't be doing anything, right? You would just be you'll just be kind of like this waiting around, right? And so I would suggest, yeah, I suggest that it's like absolutely a great, thing to try to do is to find alternative ways to, um, you know, basically, basically try to start over. Just try to find a way to build portfolio pieces without necessarily sitting there and be like, okay, I must come up with the best portfolio right now. That's why people take classes. They take classes so that they can have an opportunity to have someone tell them what to do because it's kind of what it is when you get a job anyway, right? So it's like whatever you can do to build that portfolio is never a bad idea.
Next question says, for students who are at the very bottom as far as skill, how would you go about bringing them up to an acceptable level in your class?
Oh, well, what we do is just make them work a lot. We just give them pretty much what it would almost feel like if they actually worked on the job. Um, like that's the biggest thing. But someone as a complete noob, like the way that we structure our classes are based off of what the person is doing and their progress. Like we do this thing where we meet up twice a week, and that's huge because we get to see how you took the criticism. We could see what made you move forward and what made you not move forward much sooner instead of waiting like a whole week. And that's proven to be a really good way to increase people's ability is to kind of check in on them quite often. Our students have done a great thing where they do this thing called Feedback Fridays. So every Friday they get together and they do this thing where they just actually communicate to each other what they can improve upon, paint on top of each other's work and all this great stuff. And it's a fantastic thing that you can be a part of if you're in part of the mentorship or the guild. And our community has become growing and growing and growing. Everyone's doing kick-ass work, and it's just awesome, and we appreciate that. And so I think the students that are just starting out, they just don't know what to do. And so sometimes that's all I would be doing is just really helping you understand the things that you're really suffering with and just give you some strategies to solve them. We have some students who have like started pretty much from the bottom who are now some of our better students. They're doing great because they just took my advice and they just went with it.
How important is it to be able to paint environments for character illustrations for MTG, Riot, etc.?
What? I don't know that question. I never worked there.
What is your excuse?
How important to paint environments for character illustrations?
You kind of need to
Right.
at least a little bit.
Oh, for like Riot, yeah, of course.
Companies like Riot.
They're like look at their illustrations. They're pretty well, they're well described. They're not like loose sketches. Like they're like straight up paintings themselves. So I mean, what's great about our careers, our craft? It's really easy to see what you need to do because it's visual. Like you look at their paintings and don't ask yourself, well, what is the lowest common denominator? What is the least amount of work do I need to do to get the job? No, like, oh shit, I need to do it like that because that person got the job and they're on the splash page. Like, how do I match that, or better yet, go beyond that? Don't be like, what is the minimum amount? Like, no one's gonna want to hire a minimum amount artist. They're gonna hire the one that's like they do this shit in their fucking sleep. So always keep your standards high. Don't try to distract yourself from the reality of our career. Like you can look at an artist's work and see what needs to be expected of you.
Bare minimum I need to do.
Yeah, what is the bare minimum?
Why did you do that in the interview? So
Like-
how do I not get fired? Like what's the
Yeah,
the least amount I need to do in order to not get fired?
Yeah. Okay. So I tell my students my students always ask me this similar question, but in a different way. They ask me like how do you check your quality? Because they feel like they have a hard time. And again, I tell them find an artist that you admire and put their artwork next to yours constantly. You don't have to paint like that. Like let's say you're doing sci-fi, like Ruin Jaya's fantasy stuff, right? You're just checking it for quality. You're checking your work like their work is at a level that my work is not at yet now, and I need to keep aiming for that. Because if you weren't aiming for it before, you were probably coming up short and wondering why. Like, if you paint a painting for too long, you might start to believe that it's good, right? And looking at another artist's work is a great reminder sometimes to tell you, hey, you're not there yet, man. Don't get discouraged by it. Just be like, okay, I need to step back and try to get closer to this.
Be inspired by it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, try to find a way to make it work for you, like that inspires you.
Yeah, it's like martial arts, right? Like you get your ass kicked one time, you're not like gonna be like, ah, damn it, never again. But like when I got beat up in boxing and stuff like that, I was more inspired. Like I was like, man, I can't wait to try new things or try to get better, as opposed to just being discouraged.
Yep,
Yeah, man.
pretty much.
Like when
Yeah.
I go out to the soccer fields nowadays, and like I'm older, right? Not the way I used to be. And these like I was playing actually soccer with these like high school kids, and they were all fucking amazing. They asked me to play, and I was like, dude, these kids are way faster than me, and way. But I liked the challenge. I was like, man, I can't wait to go back there again and try to figure out ways to be more efficient, like when I play, so that even though I'm older, I'm not as quick as I used to be. I can still keep up with the younger guys. Like it's a challenge, but I don't walk away from that being like, oh man, like I'm never gonna go out there again. It's like, all right, it's got to figure it out.
David K said you should have Marco Neller on.
Okay.
He's really been killing it with Mortal Kombat.
I
Okay.
say I say we do an arm wrestling contest between AJ and Marco Neller.
He almost tried to do that to me, man. You see that motherfucker, dude?
Yeah,
He's
it's
like
ridiculous.
as tall as I am. I think he's an inch taller than me. He's like 5'10", I think, and his arms are as big as my head.
You guys should do like
His
the
wings, man. He's twice as big as me.
I could
man.
probably be him.
No.
Like,
In
I wanna-
most
I wanna
cases,
hit a buff
I'm on your
bicep.
side, but like Mark. Remember
No.
Mark? Like he's 3 times as big as, or he's
Mark.
2 times as big as Mark, the guy you arm wrestled at
Oh, yeah,
my
yeah.
birthday. He's big, man. Like if he just like dropped his arm, if he just dropped his arm, the sheer weight of his arm would defeat you.
You guys should do like
Jackson.
the thing from Arnold Schwarzenegger and like son of a bitch and just do
Yeah,
that.
he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you are that kid in you're McLovin.
So you're saying
not even
there's a chance.
you're not Apollo Creed. You're McLovin. You're just a
So
completely
you're
different.
saying there's a chance.
No, I didn't even say percentage.
So you're
I just
saying
said
there's
you
a chance.
Oh.
Alright, next question says, how much work / hours do you guys consider good when taking the two-month mentorship? Like how many hours should you work on the assignments?
I work with people individually. Usually, I would say I'd say a minimum of a part-time job, like 10 to 15 hours a week, is a good average. That's all you really need to start to improve a little bit, But some students have more time than others, and they improve more.
And
You know,
also
don't be-
depends. Oh.
Yeah, don't be a victim of your circumstance and be like, "Oh, I don't have enough time." Like that's the point. That's why you're not improving now. You're not getting good anytime soon. And it's because you're not even taking that first step. You're not finding time. You're not making time, and that's the problem. And what we do is like I like when we have a student who works full time, and he was like that was his complaint. Like he just works too much. And I sat down with him and we talked about his schedule, and we figured out he had plenty of time. And then also, I talked with him about like his mentality. He was just so in his head about like failure. And I said, "Yeah, you're already failing. Your work sucks already. So you're gonna give up now? Like you've already failed. You don't have a job, right? So now what?
Yeah.
Right?" And he's like, "Well, no, I'm not gonna quit, right?" And I was like, "Exactly. So don't quit. Just keep moving forward." And I worked with them and talked with them like they're like in the beginning he would call me often. He felt like, "Oh, I don't know what, like maybe it's you, maybe you're not giving me critiques." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll give you more critiques then." He's like, "Oh, okay." And I gave him more critiques, and he's like, "Okay, still
He's
having
like,
an issue."
maybe it's John.
Yeah, maybe it's John. I don't like John in the chat.
Maybe it's Mache like on Wednesdays. I don't know, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, it
But
must be
the
me.
point is that I was eliminating excuse after excuse to the point where he realized it was all him, and it's always been him. And now he's fucking killing it. Like he's doing so good now. Like I'm like so happy with his work. It's because like to me the mentorship, like we make it clear that it's not just teaching you how to paint. We're here to teach you how to become an artist, become a professional.
It's
you
very
know,
true. It's very
and
true.
that has nothing to do with painting. Sometimes, it
I had
has
that same
everything to do
mentality.
with like how to become a painter, how to stay hardworking.
No, I had that same mentality when we had that earlier question about the lowest point. I had the same mentality for the person that had that question. Like, when I got put to part time, I was like, it's the boss and it's the company and we're just doing stupid shit, And AJ was like, nah, dude, it's you. Just stop being a bitch. And I was like, all right, like I should, And it's luckily I have friends like that can check me, that can check my ego when it needs to be checked. And then once you realize that the success of yourself relies solely upon you, like and just like you alone, and you don't rely on anyone else but yourself. But you can take help when it's given to you, obviously. But as long as you realize it only relies on you, then like you're gonna figure it out eventually. I look at like Mache, right? He like moved from different country, right? And like did
Yes.
all that shit. Like, come on, like it can't be that
I
bad.
actually
I guess.
moved. I moved from Poland. I moved like I think I moved more times than years that I worked in the industry.
What
Uh,
was your English good when you moved from
oh
Poland
no,
or is Poland?
I was like this drunk Russian.
Yeah, right. So does anyone think they can move from another country, learn the language, and then make it like as a studio? Like if you can do that, like
All right,
just
let me tell you a story. First phone call that was for Streamline Studios, um, when I was still working in Warsaw, and the, I would have an interview where I wouldn't understand 90% what the person was saying to me. So I was trying my best to say a few words that I knew, and then soon after, I didn't get a job, by the way, because probably they figured out like, okay, this person will probably not be able to, take an assignment with, because he will not fucking understand what we're asking him to do.
just keep saying yes,
Yeah, just yes, yeah,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
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 Uh, so I eventually got a job at Crytek, and that was because they really liked the work. Even though in an interview I would be slightly better, with the experience of the first interview. Um, but so when I got a job and I got there, my supervisor was an American that was probably the fastest speaking person I've ever met. And the second guy that would work with me directly was Scottish. So I wouldn't understand
Oh
shit.
shit! Remember the Leeds, man. You gotta remember the Leeds, yeah.
And
Like, tough fuck.
and before I even started working on the game, I would get the design doc, which was 200 pages. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh shit!
Holy
Google
shit.
Translate.
Google, no, wait, come on. There was no Google Translate
Oh yeah, there wasn't Google
those
Translate.
those
Oh
days.
shit!
Yeah, so
Damn,
it was
that's
like,
back in the
oh,
day. So
I
you just
gotta
like
have
killed
to,
yourself.
I gotta have to read.
Why do you show Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
I would be
Why
like,
he
I
becomes
would be like,
Italian?
please, slow, speak.
I had the
uh,
same issues there when I lived in
yeah, it would
Spain.
take forever. But coming back, yeah, I moved to Germany. In Germany, I moved from Bavaria to Frankfurt, and then I moved to US. And then from US, I moved back to Poland, and from Poland, I moved back to US. And being here, I moved a couple of times. So it's
Yeah, being
almost.
international is hard. Like,
Oh, it
it's not
is
easy.
because you got to understand this. I mean, you might think like, oh, this guy's yeah, he's moving. He's gonna work for Naughty Dog, and oh, he's gonna do the film work. His life is awesome, and you got to understand this. Whenever you're moving, all your friendships end, most likely end, because you're not there directly. If you're not there directly, you're gonna maintain friendships with people, overseas, but it's not gonna be the same thing ever
And
again.
it's a culture shock too.
It's a culture shock. It's
Like
it's a,
from
it's very hard on the family. It's
yeah,
it's really fucking hard on the family because you're not close to your relatives, and if you're moving with family, it's even harder on them as well. Um, it's
yeah,
even just to move alone, just figuring out new
yeah.
things and figuring out
Figuring
what US is about, what the fuck, like
yeah,
you
like an
guys.
apartment. Like fuck.
When you go to the restroom and you have those walls that have like those gaps that pretty much anyone can see your junk whenever walking into the restroom. Like, what the fuck is with that, man? What the fuck, America?
Oh, is that not in Poland?
No, we have concrete walls because
Oh yeah.
whenever you were taking a shit and Nazi Germany was bombing, you at least wanted, never mind.
But it's a
Happening.
culture shock. Like when I moved to Spain, I had the same problem. Like I had to like figure out how to learn Spanish, or I had to learn Photoshop in Spanish because I couldn't. They couldn't get an English version at the time, so I had to memorize like where everything was, and then like just being able to get food and just like walk around. It's a lot of stuff. So I mean, like there's a lot of things like real problems like that can stop you. So it's like if your only problem is just drawing, like trust me, you have time. Like if someone can move to another country, learn language, learn the culture, and like get an apartment, like do all that shit, then you can draw. Like just
Yeah,
draw.
get a driver's license, get social security, figure out what the fuck social security is, and that you shouldn't show it to everybody around.
Is that what you did? You're like, hey
No,
man,
but
post it
obviously
online.
not. But like, for you guys, like for you, Callie and AJ, it's like it is fucking simple, right? Dude, it's social security, right? It's just, it's a
Yeah.
social security. What do you don't understand here? I'm like, yes, I don't fucking understand.
No, I hear you. Like after living in Spain, now I have a much more respect for people that work obviously in America because it's like that's got to be a mind fuck, just in general to
Yeah,
work.
it's just those small things that
You
you
take for
take for
granted.
granted. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're like, what's up? Like, you should understand that. It's
All right.
it's simple.
Let's like try to end this. Let's do a 10-minute lightning round.
There's not very
All right.
many questions. Most of them
Really?
are actually from Facebook. So.
Oh, okay. So we'll still make it a lightning round.
Right.
We need a lightning like
They
sound.
want you to go back to environment scaling.
Oh, well, this is actually for work. Wait,
Yeah,
is
well,
the screen
we don't
on?
give a
Is the
fuck
screen
about
on
work.
me right now? Is the screen
Yeah,
on
you
me?
know what? Pass it to Mache.
How do I do that?
Okay, see his name? I believe you right click it, you can say make presenter.
Right click, make presenter. Oh shit! I had no idea the thing was on me the entire time. I've just been fucking around. Jesus.
We saw the dog porn, bro.
Fuck.
We saw it and we approve.
Man.
We approve this message.
Well, that's gonna be awkward. I have to delete this stream.
Just hide.
Yeah.
Hide yourself.
Well, I don't think
Is it
because-
on him now? Is it on him now? It should be on him now. He's the presenter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on him now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So first one says, out of all these 4 job types, which one has the highest amount of jobs available, and which one has the least? Concept artist, illustrator, 3D environment artist, 3D character artist
Which one has the most?
available, and which one has
I don't
the
know.
least? Would you say?
Does that matter?
I don't know, man. I would 3D tends to have the most. I would say, like just from knee jerk reaction, just
Yeah, probably 3D.
both three because there's just needs, especially environment. Like there just needs to be a lot of artwork done, and especially if a game is 3D.
But just make sure that you're asking that question for the right reasons. Don't ask that question as opposed to like, which one has the most jobs, and I'm gonna do that. Like, do what you want to do.
Yeah, because let's say that's how you're basing it now. Because we don't know. Maybe you're not. You just want to know. You're just curious. But let's say you are, which I'm most certain you probably are. You go, you get that job, and you fucking hate it. You're like 100,000 or 1,000 other artists who take the job because it's the easiest one to get, and then just like are stuck and complain. I know so many artists like this, and they just talk about how they hate their jobs and they hate this, they hate that. No one knows what they're doing, type of thing. And I'm like, well, you're the only one that doesn't know what they're doing because you clearly don't like anything you do. Like you are the one that made the choice. No one in this office is told you to become a 3D artist. They're paying you because that's what was on your portfolio. You can't be mad at them for hiring you for the thing you do. And if you wanted to be a 2D artist and saying, well, it's hard, well, now you're saying that being a 3D artist is easier. That's an insult to those who actually really do love being a fucking 3D artist, who are the best in the industry and who do a great job, right? Like, who are kick-ass 3D artists. I admire so many amazing 3D artists that just clearly that's what they want to do. One artist I met had the opposite story. He started in 2D. You know, he's a French artist, and 2D is actually a little bit probably more prominent of a career. And he's like, I don't like this 2D shit. I like 3D. 3D makes sense to me. And he did 3D instead. And I was like, you're the first person that I know that does that, you know? And I'm sure there's many more like him. It's just you gotta make the right choice. Don't just do it because it's easier. Remember, it's back to that thing. What is the least amount
Yeah,
of work
least amount.
can I does to get to these jobs? And
How
so
does I paint good?
yeah, and so yeah. Why don't you just try to do the thing that you want to do and just understand that it is going to be hard. It's just going to be hard, regardless. If you want to be a 3D artist, even being a good 3D artist is fucking hard. You know, like it's not any easier.
It's even harder because it's more.
Yeah, I
technical.
agree. Like I'm learning 3D now, and I'm like, all this technical shit, man. I have to go through 4 different softwares to try to create a usable model, but it's easier now. It used to be much harder, which kept me away for many years. You know. But
Whenever
now
I get
it's
that
like,
question,
yeah, the buttons and switches there's less to turn, it's more intuitive, right?
yeah.
But there was a time when there was like, they used to fucking rig Jurassic Park with like Excel spreadsheet. You hear about that shit?
That sounds
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, like everything is hard. I think that's pretty much what I always tell people is that like everything is hard to get a job in. Like, cause like there isn't one job where people just have low standards. Like it's just not how it works. No one goes like, all right, for concept artists, we can only hire the best of the best, but for 3D, yeah, we can maybe hire like a shitty artist. Like no, they're gonna want dope ass people for everything. So if you're wondering like which has the most jobs, just know they're all hard, from animation to modeling to anything, and that goes for any industry, like for anything almost, like any job you want to that's competitive, like they're all hard. So it's like you just have to pick the one that you're willing to invest a lot of time into, and then do that one.
Well, if you want to have an easy job, then it's gonna be low paid work.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're not gonna be paid well for something that doesn't require skill.
Yeah.
You know.
And if you want it for money, then you could just go be like an accountant or something at that point. If that's like the thinking, at least, you know.
There's jobs that are much easier to do, but you can make more money. Like I was once a plumber. It's interesting to think that when I was a plumber, I was like making like when my first career in art almost the same amount of money. You know, like I was making like $50,000 as an apprentice plumber. If I would have kept it, if I went career, I could have made much more. Probably the same amount of money I'm making now, but as a plumber. And that shit. I mean, it's not like not easy, but it's definitely not hard. You just fucking clean shit.
I heard that
I don't want to
sigh,
talk about it.
that depression was real right there when you hit that sigh. It was like,
Talk about something else.
it just went down a real dark path
Okay,
in his memory.
let's go to something else.
How could you incorporate? How can I incorporate my 3D skill with environment art? Like, how can I use this to my advantage over other art? And shouldn't I learn perspective without 3D? He's asking.
I don't think you necessarily have to. There are a lot of people that are kind of against this using 3D in terms of helping with perspective. But I feel like whenever I instruct, I feel like using 3D is a great way to explain things. Like when people are like, "Well, why is this wrong?" And then I just build it quickly in SketchUp and I go, "See, that's why it's wrong." Like if you look at it, you can do this, this, and this, and they go, "Oh, I never thought of it that way." So I think all the tools can possibly help you. You just have to be willing to see that and be open to it. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's you have to know perspective. You just have to know what perspective is and how it works, and whether you use 3D to achieve it or whether you paint, then it just doesn't matter. Just know that if you don't know how to paint in perspective without using 3D, it's gonna be harder to fix things that you cannot achieve in 3D. You know.
Yeah, I would agree.
This question says, "What is a union? What benefits do you get being a part of a union, and how hard is it to get in, and how much does one need to pay to get in?
So when you join a union, you get health care, and you get it for working. You don't get it just because you're in the union. You actually have to work on union shows in order to get those benefits. So they just look how many hours you did, and there's a specific hours requirement. There's a specific number of hours that you have to work throughout a year in order to be eligible for those benefits. And it's mostly healthcare and pension or 401k or whatever you want to call it. So those are the major benefits, and apart from that, just the ability to work on union films, which are any films that are done in US by major studios, which is Universal, Fox, Warner Brothers, Sony, and Disney. I think, and Paramount. So, so that's the major thing. In order to get into the union, there's two ways. You have to work on a show that is non-union, and then flips and is union. So like, let's say they start pre-production, you get hired, you work on that show, and then a studio comes in like, okay, we greenlight this film and we're making it, and then everyone who's non-union on that show is being invited to be in a union, has to join the union. The second way to get in is when production designer, art director, or producer wants to hire you for a show that is already a union show. And that's what happened to me. I was hired on a show for Marvel last year, and that's the way I got in a union. They can get one person per show into a union. Now you have to work 30 days. You can actually all the information I'm talking about you can check on adg.org. That's the Art Directors Guild website. They have specific requirements. You can read everything that I'm saying. You have to pay your initiation fee, which is substantial amount of money. It's more than a couple of $1,000s, I can tell you that. And then you pay union dues quarterly, which is another amount, which is not bad at all. Just something that you have to pay every quarter in order to maintain your active status in a union. So that's. Did I answer everything, or did I miss something?
Yeah, it sounds pretty informative to me.
Yeah, it sounds like you were way too in depth on that one. Should have been like, website done. I'll see you later.
All right.
All right. Next one says, I want to migrate to the U.S. because the country I'm currently in is retarded. How much money do I need to get ready to go through that visa barrier? I heard it is a shit ton of money.
All right, so you will not get a visa because you want to get in the country.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. In order to get to US, you have to be hired by someone who wants to get you in here. So you have to be hired by an employer that wants to sponsor your visa, and he will pay for your visa. The only way to get into the United States without working for an employer is a green card. And there is a specific category of the green card, which is called EB1. And for artists, it's a EB1, extraordinary artist. In order to get that one, you better have fucking good credits, man. Good credits. And it's more likely that you actually will get visa first. Like, you will get hired by someone to work in the studio. It's way more likely that that's gonna happen, unless you're badass and you won Emmy Award or Academy Award because you did like a short film or something, or you directed something big and you get Academy Award. That's when you're gonna get green card as well. But
All right, the last way you can is you have to go down, you have to migrate down to Morocco, find a guy about the docks, Pier 30. His name's Memo. Talk to Memo. Okay, you slip him, you give him 10 grand, you tell him where you want to go, you tell him that Mache sent you. Okay, tell him that's a really really important. Mache sent you. Give him the 10 grand. All
So
right,
far,
you
so
go in the
good.
you
I
go
like
into
it.
the
Nice.
you go into the crate. All right, make sure you bring enough food for at least a week. Okay, this is the important part. All right, and make sure you bring your own air supply because sometimes the crates move, and I'm done.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Alright. Next question says,
That was real specific, Caleb.
boxers or briefs? Boxers or briefs? That's from
uh,
Taylor.
when sports,
Yeah.
definitely briefs. When regular, commando. Next question.
What program are you using for all the latest 3D stuff you have been posting, and will you release video tutorials on that process, AJ?
I only release stuff if I do it at a level that I feel is like valuable. Otherwise, I usually don't. So right now, like, I would say I'm halfway through the point where I feel like I could actually start teaching people how to do it. I'm going to be teaching some of the first students how I do this pretty soon, and then I want to see how that goes. And if that goes well, then I'll start teaching it a little more, you know, at a larger scale. But right now, I'm just kind of doing it. Yeah, see, John can see what's going on. John knows, but there's still like some kinks.
Shit's dope.
Like right now, like I'm setting up like a light scene. I have like a scene right now where you can like see the light rotating. Only I can see it. I'll post a video on this soon. But if you're going to Vancouver, you'll hear me talk about it more. I'll be really explaining how it's like pretty fucking epic. You know, but yes.
Tight.
Oh, that question. What? That question was from Jake. Alright.
Oh,
Anyways.
Mache? All right, well, then Mache can answer it too.
That's it. You don't want to hear what you have to fucking say.
Oh,
Posted
boy.
on AJ.
No, that's fine. That makes sense because Mache is part of the stream.
Yeah. Answer.
So yeah, you can go ahead and answer it too. So
It's Fusion 360, 3ds Max. Woo!
Fusion 360. I never heard of that.
It's the Autodesk software. It's pretty good. It's sort of like this CAD software. It's very similar to SolidWorks.
Oh, okay. When you said
Yeah,
Fusion,
yeah.
I'm like, is this like a rave concert? Like, what the? I'm going to Fusion 360. I'll see you guys there.
Anyways, yeah, it's 3ds Max and Fusion 360. It's both of those. And when it comes to videos, you know, when I will eventually, but I only want to like what AJ said. I only want to release stuff that I'm really confident about. I don't want to start teaching things that I'm learning myself, or I'm at the point where I don't feel like I'm, you know, almost authorized to teach. I rather teach something that I know I'm really comfortable with, and without a shadow of a doubt, I can answer all the questions.
yeah.
Same goes to you, Mache. It says, what is the ETA on new tutorials and the mentorship program?
Oh well, we can just answer that real quick. He hasn't. He plans to do one, but that's as far as he'll release, right? And then we just kind of answered the video right now.
Yeah.
Like right now there's like we feel maybe like I feel like I've exhausted a lot of information. There's still things I can teach that people would want me to teach. We have a whole list of things that people have asked me specifically to teach. I'm sure Mache, but it's just time. Like, it just takes time, guys. Like, it was nice when we first started because there's plenty of time, but things have changed. We're in different.
Yeah,
states in our
I
life.
want to do. I still have few tutorials that I have to do. That I like the environment for video games. That's the one I'm restarting to work on because there's a last chapter that is missing, and a lot of people have been asking about it. So I want to release it, bundle it up with everything that was released previously, and then there's a couple of new ones that I have in my mind, including some of the things that you guys suggested online. But regarding mentorship yeah, we answered that last time, and it's you know it's gonna happen, but no ETA just yet.
Alright, next question.
Sweet.
How do I maintain an efficient Photoshop workflow, and what is a summarization of your own workflow from start to finish? I'm guessing that's for AJ.
Wait, what?
How do I maintain an efficient Photoshop workflow, and what is
Oh, I
it?
see. Oh, what the? GoToMeeting crash?
It's that Gumroad.
Made me the presenter?
No. Yeah, I made you the presenter. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
You can make.
AJ, you are now the presenter.
You have to send it to me. There's two entities.
Are you the presenter now?
Nope. I don't even think I'm in the GoToMeeting. Yeah.
Yeah, you
are.
No, I'm not in that one actually. And our internet has not been dying because of that. Maybe I should not join this. No, I'm not gonna join it. There's nothing there.
All right, I'll just
take it back. Take it back, or give it back to Mache. Because I have a feeling it's gonna crash if I do, and I think now there's something about my computer that might be
okay.
in this whole.
All right. Well, we're making him the presenter now. He's the presenter. Okay. Done. Oh shit! I can see his work now. That's weird.
Questions if you want to keep going.
Okay, how many questions? To
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That is not a few.
That is more.
Called several.
That's a few out of how many we've answered so far.
All right, let's just answer 2 of the best questions you see there, and then we'll move on in the stream. We need to get going.
This guy's watching at 5 a.m. and so let's do that.
Oh wow, nice.
Any life dedication or what? Anyway, here's my question. Please feel free to pick any one of these if you all only want to do one. Photoshop, another martial artist. Okay, it's actually a long question.
Wow.
I'm really interested though.
So part A.
I'm like, you got me real invested in that, guys.
Another martial artist in the house, Taekwondo is mine. Much respect for Ash. How do you guys maintain such a high quality of work? Surely you must have some off days, right? Okay, so he has a few questions. I think we answered that one.
It's okay. I'm actually okay with us answering that guy's questions. All of them, and then just calling it a day. He said 5 in the morning. Yeah, that's kind of worth a little bit more of our time.
This question says, how do you guys maintain such a high quality of work? Surely you must have some off days, right? In those days, what do you do to pull yourself out of a creative funk or mental block type situation?
I think you have to just make sure you prepare, give yourself enough time to make mistakes if possible. I mean, that's like, for instance, like that character I was drawing, right? I'm doing it for like card art, and I've been doing a couple of versions of it, and it's for a Hex, you know, one of Tyler James, and he's like, yeah, it's not working, and I'm like, well, good thing I gave myself enough time, like, to work on it, like, good thing it's not due tomorrow, like, good thing I have an extra week. So I think if anything for me, it's like, if I'm having an off day, I just try to plan for the possibility of having an off day, because obviously life happens. So I think it's more like don't procrastinate. I would say procrastination, I think, is a big one to prevent that if you do have an off day.
That's true. And also one way of avoiding it is to work as a daily rate, not as a fixed rate.
Yes, sir. Next question. Let's do this.
You guys find it easy to get into the flow of working for long periods of time? What do you do to stay consistent?
Like, wait, how to work for long hours? Is that what it is? Like,
do you find it easy to get into the flow of working for long periods of time?
It depends what shows on Netflix.
Yeah, AJ watches.
I'm not even joking. If like Daredevil's on, I'm like, fuck, I'm in this shit.
Just because you're working on Unreal now.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a time where I would just watch stuff and I'll just be in it, you know. But now I don't watch anything. I just fucking make real shit.
Real shit.
Like things that you can interact with. I'm like so involved in this, like so distracted by it. But it's fun. It's a good distraction. It's a distraction that's going to pave my next career. And yeah, I mean, for me, like I think I had a really good. I think we can end it right here. I'll end it on this speech. Okay,
Oh
here we
no.
go. Um, you you guys ready? So, like one of the things that I've been explaining to my students um, is that I don't think that I'm necessarily more talented than anybody else, or I'm a better artist than anyone else. It's that like there's parts of me that experience tremendous amounts of like hardship and pain and struggle, and I just say whatever. Like this is temporary. This is only temporary. And I think when people get to these moments, they stop. And let me explain something to you. Like, there is a show that I started watching is about OCD people, people that have this disorder where, like, for example, the one person, like, she could not handle her mom or her brother having their hands out and open, or like not touching things aggressively. Like, if they touch things gently, like, it freaked her to freak out. Her mom, every time she would say the K sound, she would start to say the K sound back to cancel it out. She'd be like, right? And what these therapists did for these people, specifically for her, was they made her like they forced her to witness her mom not only have her hands out, but hold gently a piece of paper that had a paragraph with only K words in it. And she was not allowed to touch her. She was not allowed to interrupt her mom. And she was freaking the fuck out, man. She was like shaking, sweating. You know, she was like looked like she was gonna explode. And the therapist explained this as exposure therapy, which is the way that it works is that you put these people in the most extreme version of their OCD, and what that does is that normally what happens is your brain will transition to another thing. Like if that OCD takes hold, then you will escape by doing whatever that OCD thing makes you usually do, which was like say the K sound or touch your mom's hand and tell her to stop, whatever. So to train your mind out of this anxiety, you have to stay with the thing that fucking hurts you the most, so that your brain can reconfigure how to deal with it. Yeah. And I find that a lot of students they run into this problem with art where they don't get better, they don't see themselves getting better. They try like I don't like almost every time a student says like, "Hey, I have a hard time painting with forms," and I say, "Well, how many form studies have you done?" And they usually say, "I haven't done much." And it's like, "Why not?" Well, it's hard. Well, there you go, problem solved. And they're like, "Well, but it's like I mean, what do I do?" And it's like, "You just told me what you need to do." And what I end up finding is that I train them. I realize the same training that these people get from OCD is similar to people that need to advance their skills. And I think the difference between people like that aren't able to do that is that they escape easily. They go to the route that is less resistance, and then they complain about later. Hindsight is 2020, right? About all this peripheral things, these external things preventing them from getting any better. But the only one that's holding you hostage is yourself. And I think the difference between like me, like Mache and Kalen and all these other people, like all these successful people versus people that are not successful, the difference I think, and it's almost always the same with all of us, is that we don't give a fuck that we suck. Right? We say, okay, we suck. I mean, there was a time maybe we did, but we've trained ourselves out of it. We've taught our brain that it's only temporary. And now learning anything new is not too hard. I mean, it's not hard in terms of entry, right? The entry is
Yeah.
freaking, we're on fire, we're coming in hot, but we're okay because we know eventually we'll cool off. And the therapist said a really good thing. She's like, oh, I feel like I'm on fire. Like, I feel like I'm just burning up, and I'm getting hotter. It's like putting my hand in hot water, you know? And he says, well, why don't you think of it like you're jumping into a cold pool, and eventually your body will just adapt to the temperature, like warm up the water, right? And I think that's a great way of thinking about it. Sometimes it's like jumping into like ice cold water, but eventually you level out. It's hard at first, it sucks at first, but eventually it gets over. Becomes easier, exponentially actually. Like once you get that ball rolling, you get better much faster.
And also, don't be like too concerned about other things that you see of people being like. I think it's a little bit harder nowadays in that regard. I think when we were doing it, because there was no like stuff to watch. I feel like when we were learning, and that sounds like really odd thing to say. When we were learning, there wasn't really
Well,
much out there, so it was kind
yeah.
of like just you, like just us, is kind of struggling on our own. We weren't really looking to others. But now I feel like there's so much information, so much good information out there. I feel like it's really easy for students to like, okay, I'll get this Gumroad or I'll get these things. Oh, I'm still not getting it. Like, what's the problem? You know? As
Yeah.
opposed to before when there wasn't information, right? You would just be like, all right, I got to figure this shit out. And if I don't know, I have to keep going. That's the answer. So I think for us, it was like the answer was just keep going. As for some people today, it might be like, well, where can I find the answer? And I think most of the time the answer is always within yourself.
Yeah. Well, to kind of counter your point, like that's always going to be true because people before us had the same problems,
I think
right?
Mache has to leave soon.
They actually had it worse, right? It's all
Hmm.
good. And so it was easy for us compared to them. And in the next generation, it's gonna be the same. It always will be. It will just keep stacking on. But anyway, like we do have to go. All right,
All
guys.
right.
Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for dealing with our bullshit. We'll figure it out. I
I
think
blame you.
that
I blame you, AJ. You
yeah, I
just
blame myself too, man. I should have like really been. I should have fixed this as soon as it was a problem, like way back, like a week ago.
such an
You
amateur
gotta get
hour.
on Cox, man. The Cox internet. Cox is fucking you, literally.
Yeah.
And Kayleen talking about Cox.
Hey, I'm an ass man. Get it right. Get it right.
And scene. All right, guys. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for all those who joined the stream. You guys are awesome. Please ask more questions. I think what we're going to go around this too is we're going to try to answer questions that are obviously a lot different. And for those of you who may not have had your questions answered, it might be answered in previous streams, and we will highly recommend you go watch those old ones. And there's going to be a lot more. So thanks, guys. Have a good night. Thanks again, Kaylin. Thanks again, Noche. Thanks, John, for
Thanks.
moderating.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
nice
everyone for
job.
showing up and asking those questions and being here. And we're gonna be here doing it more. So I guess I hope we'll see you next time.
Oh,
Absolutely.
show.
All right. Peace out.